stinks because I have tickets and I have to work.
So Zach and I will be doing. So the Guardians game probably ends around 4 on Saturday. We'll probably come on sometime between 6 and 7. We'll let you know. Stay tuned for the alert on YouTube, but we will do a show a couple hours after the game, after Zach does his post-game interviews and stuff like that. So. Great. After every postseason game.
Bernie, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, guys.
Good to see you, man.
I'm in the timeout chair here.
Yeah, you got him on.
Bernie, are you locked into the Guardians? Because they're more excited than the Browns right now.
I am absolutely. Got the
There it
land
is. I like
on. I'm
it.
ready for the Guardians playoffs.
Right.
Actually, tonight, ready for a little Messi in town.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize.
Is it a friendly one tonight? Is it? Who's he play for? Miami?
Inter Miami's coming
right,
to Columbus.
coming to Columbus.
Tonight.
Really?
Messi
Play the
big
Cruise.
soccer
It's a
guy?
regular season game?
A regular season game. 2 best teams in the MLS.
Yeah.
Wow.
Inter Miami.
That's gonna be
and Columbus
packed down
Crew.
there. That's gonna be packed.
Yes.
And those are your
on top of
teams. I mean, those are your cities, Cleveland and Miami.
Cities with the Columbus Crew, part of our Cleveland Browns, and then part of the University of Miami, who we had a miracle ending in our game on
Yes, you did.
Hey.
Friday night.
And a little too close for comfort there, Burn.
I gotta ask you, that Cam Ward kid.
Oh, he's a beast.
He's a
Cam Ward is special.
Oh,
I like
God,
him.
yeah.
Actually, not to make this about me, though, the 40-year anniversary of the Hail Flutie Pass is coming up, and I now know how the reverse of it feels for Virginia Tech. I mean, that was gut-wrenching for them. It was fortunately so late that most people didn't see the ending of it, but that was a tough one.
It was incredible.
A tough one for Virginia
That
Tech.
looked like a certain L for your boys.
It was the right call, by the way. They got the call right.
I'm biased, but I
absolutely
I agree. I think they did get the call
They got
right.
the call right.
Unlike the Michigan offsides on the onside kick, they got that wrong. And now they've changed the onside kick rules in the Big Ten. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
I didn't see that.
How about this? The play's reviewable.
It should be.
I mean, the play should be reviewable.
Yeah.
They clearly missed it.
Yeah.
By the way, there should be no talk about Heisman yet. Ohio State has not played anybody yet.
Feels like the season
But
hasn't
you know,
started yet.
Bull,
Yeah.
that's what the media does.
Bull,
You know what's crazy to me? And we got kind of caught up in it a little bit. Maybe it wasn't this group, but I had a group of friends yesterday sending me a mock draft with who the Browns are taking in the mock draft at quarterback. And I'm like, do you know how many assumptions are being made here?
Yeah.
Where are the Browns going to finish? What pick are they going to have?
What pick did they pick for us?
They had Sanders, Deion's kid, at quarterback.
Shador?
And,
So would they
where?
have us with a
And-
top 3 pick?
And the Alabama quarterback.
Did they have the spot the Browns are picking?
Well, I mean, think
though?
about it. These are the widely regarded as the top 2 quarterbacks.
Quinn Ewers and
is
Shador?
a top 5, if not a top 1.
And he'll
pick.
end up being a top 5 pick for sure because of all the stuff that goes around him. But I'll say this. You're assuming that the Browns are going to finish with 3rd or 5th worst record in the NFL already after 4 weeks? And
I think that's too extreme.
It's extreme, but it's
not
trending.
impossible.
It's trending that
It's
way.
not
listen, you know why? The reason people do these is because people click on them.
That's right.
Like we can't not
Guys,
take debate.
we're talking about it right now.
Yeah,
I know we
slightly.
are,
Do you
and it's
should-
absurd.
So
I'm
that's why-
talking
that's
about
why
it
they
because
do
I'm
it.
saying it's absurd.
Bernie, how do you think Shador Sanders is going to translate to the NFL?
So having nothing to do with the Browns and where we should pick or do, Shador Sanders and Cam Ward, not because I'm a University of Miami guy, and not because of the kind of the PR around Sanders and primetime and all that. Those 2 quarterbacks are special. They have such patience and composure and kind of coolness in the pocket, and besides their amazing athleticism, the way they're keeping their eyes downfield, the way they're reading defenses, the way they're making throws, both of them are going to be
Those
special.
are NFL qualities.
Those are top 5, if not top
Now-
1 and 2 picks.
Now, Shador Sanders and the talk around Shador Sanders, how does that mesh in Cleveland, Ohio? That is another lightning
Well,
rod.
I didn't think
They're not drafted.
You didn't think
Even
it
if
would
they're in
work.
position to draft them, they're not
Are
drafted.
Bro.
you serious?
Bro,
Well,
if
they
if he
can't.
can make it work in Boulder, he can make it work in Cleveland.
Different though.
It's different here.
We have a history.
We
Does Deion come with him?
Well, what do you think? He took him to Division
But
One.
I actually think right now, though, for our season, and
Yeah.
1 and 3 teams have a 14% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
I want to be way more positive on our team here, and I don't see any scenario where we're picking in the top
All right,
2
good.
to 5.
I don't
Let's
either.
hope you're
That
right.
takes
I don't.
those
Look,
to
they may
10.
miss the playoffs. They may be under 500. but they're not winning 3 or 4 games, and that's where you have to be in that top 5 class.
Exactly.
Well, you sort of want to be there, though. You either want to be really good or you want to be really bad. You don't want to be in purgatory.
Place, you know what?
If that's the case, though, could I not show up for the rest of the season here? I'm going to suck, but please,
Justin,
spare me the
to
pain.
Your point, like
that's how you get better.
That's kind of been the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Like the Steelers are on the low end of the teams that make the playoffs. They don't win playoff games, so they're picking in that, middle range, middle to lower range.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get that player you need to put you over the hump if you're making the playoffs, but you're picking 18th.
Dude, we can't be the Bengals of Andy Dalton. We can't be the Tennessee Titans that 8-8
Well,
BS.
You either want to be really good or really bad.
I'm going to ask you.
It's becoming like the NBA.
Yeah.
It is becoming like the NBA. You're right.
How did you think? How did you think Deshaun played against the Raiders?
So the short answer is I think he played fantastic, and that's actually why I'm a little concerned right now, because the quarterback to play at a really good level with multiple jailbreaks going on through the course of the game and an inability still to
say jailbreak, you meaning a lot of pass rush,
rush and stuff.
He was under it all day.
All
absolutely.
day duress, and for him to really carry the show from just an execution of the given plays, he did really good with that.
So, Bernie, are you saying that because he played at the high end of his potential? He played really well. We were playing against a bad team without their best offensive player and best defensive player, and he still wasn't enough? Is that why there's concern?
Well, I think what we talked about last week here, I just think the system of being spread and throwing the ball and AKA almost 2-minute offenses, albeit Deshaun showed he's good at that in Houston, and he showed he still has that capability to take hits, stand in there, and make throws with it. We aren't set up to do that.
We're not built that way.
We are not, and it showed again that we don't. We really need to quickly establish our personality and who we are. And we said at the end of our little segment last week that it's a time to see like who we are going to show up from a play calling and scheme and personnel side of it. And being spread right now, we're just not set up for that. So going to Washington with the same type of game plan that we've had against the other NFC East teams, I think it's a tough recipe for us to try to come up with a W doing it that way.
And especially, I mean, they're playing the best of any team in that division, right? Washington.
Oh, yeah.
Jayden
Daniels
looked amazing.
I was just talking, did something this morning with Ken Harvey down there in Washington, and some of the things that Jayden Daniels has done in his first 4 games of his career.
Never been done.
I mean, 82.1% completion percentage, 85% in the last 2 weeks. I'm the only quarterback to put a 4-game stretch of north of 82% in the first 4 games of the year. Is Tom Brady in 2007, and he was 7 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
This is a rookie with athleticism and skill of throwing, coupled with a kind of the hidden, I think, big thing for them is Cliff Kingsbury. By him getting whacked in Phoenix and this kind of being his kind of comeback.
And his prove-it job.
He's proving it, and now he's massively creative with plays that really facilitate Jayden Daniels getting into the game. And with the way he's running the ball and making plays, they have the confidence and belief in themselves that I wish we had.
Bernie, we talked about the offensive line and how bad they've been, especially on the right side, and especially DeJuan Jones. He was tremendous as a rookie. He was a big surprise. And we know how big a guy he is. He's put on even more weight. He looks very out of shape. And he's very slow right now. How concerned are you about his ability to hold up there?
So I watched the Monday night game of the Dolphins, Tennessee, and you watch the Callahans and the zone running game and the personnel groups and the tight ends and backs and working in unison with the kind of belly game and spread run game that they're doing. And actually, we're crying for that here in Cleveland in terms of having guys have help around them. And when he's on an island like that, he's massively struggling right now and getting exposed, but just not him. And what I think made him successful and made the line successful and really masked the issues within there was the way they were working in unison in the running game with kind of helpers around them, having tight ends and backs around you to, again, on TV, not say it inappropriately, but really smack, hit, and chip and wipe out the other guys. There's none of that. So the defense isn't nervous
at all
that they're going to get
Bernie,
whammed, blocked, cracked, snapped, cheap blocked. Okay?
in your view, how did this pivot take place in the organization? The pivot from exactly what you talked about and what we saw was successful last year to this new all-in on this spread when you're not built that way. How does that happen in an organization where you're making a distinct pivot like that and the skill set needed for that pivot isn't there? Did that come from Stefanski? Did that come from Jimmy Haslam? Did that come from Paul DePodesta? What's your view on that?
So I'm not sure where it comes from, but I know myself at the end of my career, I kind of made mistakes where I thought I had to be the spread quarterback. I thought I had to be in shotgun. It was cool. It's fun. You know, it's fun when you four guys can't get to me. Okay, it's fun to be the quarterback then and spread. But really, that was the beginning of in the early 90s where it showed you just can't do that all the time. And if you do it all the time, they start gearing towards it. So, really, I think it's partly in the off season. You know, this started materializing, and when you started, again, I love receivers. I mean, as I was walking in today, you guys were joking about Webster Slaughter and stuff. I mean, I love adding offensive weapons. I like that the Amari Cooper trade didn't happen. I like that they added Jerry Jeudy. I like that Elijah Moore stayed. Despite Cedric Tillman dropping the ball, okay. At the end of the Giants game, I really like the way he's trying to use his hands and growing as a tall receiver. All that being said, I don't believe we're really set up to use all of those guys. And when you think you're a spread team and then you get the receivers around you, then instead of 2-3 years ago having the 3-4 tight ends on the team, 5 tight ends on the team, now we had 2, but we had 6-7 type receivers. That kind of took away from the ability to do what I think we want to do right now.
Bernie, I want your expertise on this because you played the position at such a high level. People are asking, why can't the Browns script more than the first drive, the first quarter? Because they have so much success early in games. And I don't really have a great answer. I didn't play the position. You did. Why is it so successful, and why can't they do it the entire game?
Okay. As I look at this camera angle, I feel like we're putting the band back together from your guys' early days together. Okay, so I'm having a little reflective deja vu moments and stuff. But the scripting of the initial set of plays and then not being able to continue forward with them, I spent a lot of time at my game plans at the beginning of games. I didn't necessarily like scripted plays, but I did have good concepts of what the first dozen or so plays are going to be. And I was good, and I believe good systems are good at kind of manipulating flaws within your statistical breakdowns and stuff. That being said, I used to say, like, people are like, well, you didn't make adjustments. And when you're sometimes not as good as the teams you're playing, and that's kind of a shocker, is our O-line and our front isn't as good now as who we're playing, and you ultimately can't trick people for the whole game. So I'm not saying we're tricking people in the first drive or two, but we have a statistical advantage and we're putting gooder
Why don't we just stay with that then?
But
because they make
ultimately
adjustments?
they start seeing it and they make adjustments and they kind of
So it's more they're adjusting to what we did.
I believe that they're adjusting to it, and then all of a sudden you got to start now playing the plays and seeing what you stand for and actually executing to their adjustments.
Bernie, I want your offensive expertise on this. You know, I'm just a little old D lineman, played in the MAC.
I still get the shakes around you.
Nothing little about you, Jim.
Sometimes when I watch not the results of the play, I'm talking about the concepts of, oh, wow, I like how they double team that guy to the next level. I like how they influence trapped him, or I like how they ran zone on this play or misdirection. I don't see it like in the run game, and I think it's a lot of it in the run game, and people assume you just run it and things happen. But you do need some creativity. You do need some innovation when it comes to running the football. And when you watch this offense, right, do you see it and say, wow, this is innovative, or wow, I kind of like this, they're scheming people up, or is it kind of basic? Because I come away looking at it, and basic is not bad, but when you have the talent disparity that you're talking about, sometimes you can't afford to be basic because you don't have the horses to say, I'm going to just line up and punch you in the mouth or line up and run past you.
I love where you're at right there. So I could get too long-winded here, so just cut me off when you've had enough of this, okay? You're spot on here. And what we were, and it's the brain power is there to be creative and understand those different running plays in multiple personnel groups with different personnel groups, motions and shifts. And again, this sounds bad on TV. Hopefully most kids are at school and stuff not hearing this. But chopping, okay, cutting, wham blocking is essential within that stuff. Okay, that being said, what we're just talking about in the spread offenses, you almost are condensed in the running game to simplicity. So that you don't have the extra backs, the tight ends in there to actually allow yourself to do the creativity part of that with guys that actually will hurt people and they could physically move them off. So just like we said, when you have 4 or 5 tight ends on your roster, it's easy to go 13 personnel with a back and 3 tight ends. But we only have 2 tight ends and one's hurt. And now all of a sudden you got 2 street tight ends that weren't even part of your OTAs, mini camp or training camp 2 weeks ago. That makes it exponentially more challenging. So that's where you also got to kind of implement your personnel groups of who you're going to start bringing and making more active. Because I know we feel terrible right now at 1-3 and almost a quarter of the season's over with. But we actually felt horrible this time last year post the Steelers game, and we thought the season was over. So we morphed a little bit in the offense. Then we need to really start, I think, morphing. Yes, from the play calling and scheme of it, but more so in the personnel groups and getting some guys maybe on the practice squad to be ready to go in a few weeks to add to that stuff so that you could, again, bang people around, because it's hard to do that in the spread shotgun.
Mike, I know we have to go, but I have to get 60 seconds on this because it's a big topic amongst fans, and you have personal knowledge here. Ken Dorsey is in the wings. Kevin Stefanski has, I thought, bungled the use of the timeout late in the game that cost the Browns an opportunity to perhaps at least touch the ball again. Some fans are already saying we've seen enough of Stefanski's play calling. Where are you on that? Is it time to give Ken Dorsey a chance? He's the offensive coordinator. Is it time that we see something different?
So I don't see it as much a play calling issue as what we're doing today. Hey, today's Wednesday. Okay, it's almost 12 o'clock right now. The regular 1st and 10, 2nd and 7+ game plan was installed by almost all NFL teams today at their 9 o'clock meetings, post their 8 o'clock quarterback meetings. So that type of work really needs to be done today and tomorrow of what are the plays and personnel groups that are available to me. So if I only have 2 tight ends active on Sunday, that limits the stuff you could actually.
So it's a no on the changing.
Yeah, so to me, I think that they are working together.
Okay.
And it's more important today and tomorrow to nail down, this is who I am. These are the plays I'm running. Okay, I don't care that the fans are going to yell at me because I go 13 personnel and I have all 4 of you guys as tight ends and running backs.
So you're saying
you are who you are.
You are.
You have to recognize that.
You say you revert back to what he does best.
What he does best.
What got him
and
to the
I believe,
dance.
even though, look I didn't think at the end of my career I did that best, and then I ended up retiring and getting killed. I'm not saying Deshaun is in that space of it yet, but he's taking an inordinate amount of hits. And I'd love to maybe counsel him a little bit that this is actually what would be best for him, best for the team, okay, and actually would help his game because when he has a little bit of time, he's figuring out what to do. He just has no time right now. And these extra creativity in the running game with creativity on some personnel groups, actually, I believe would increase Deshaun's playmaking ability and confidence. Not just him, the whole team.
Yeah, sure, it spreads. All right, Bernie, thanks.
Thanks,
We
Bernie.
appreciate it.
Sounds good, guys.
Great stuff.